Mr. Beast recently had a random crypto enthusiast respond to him promoting a video on Twitter that he should, hey, Mr. Beast, Jimmy, why don't you upload the video directly to the platform instead of just posting a link to where people can go watch the video, which historically does not perform very well compared to an organic tweet. Now, obviously, it's Mr. Beast, so his post is just, I uploaded, go watch or I'll drop kick you, and it has 66,000 likes.
Yeah.
But for him, that is not a ton of engagement. That's on the lower side. So that's been the case for a long time. Just simple, short, self-promotional tweets don't perform as well as when you try and come up with something really engaging and really unique that serves the Twitter audience really well. So it's a really valid question. Why not just upload the content here and people can just watch it? And Jimmy responded saying, okay, hold on. First, Elon Musk pitched in. He goes, yeah.
10,000 likes.
10,000 likes. And so Jimmy responded with, I think, a really actually succinct version of what I'll kind of try and talk to you guys about.
And fair.
He basically goes, my videos cost millions to make, and even if they got 1 billion views on X, it wouldn't fund a fraction of it. /face. I'm down to test stuff once monetization is really cranking. And this is a really good point that I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand about platforms. I've been asked 1,000 times about at least multiple dozens of alternate platforms. Linus, why don't you upload your videos here? I was about to say to X as a variable. That doesn't work. Okay. Linus, why don't you upload your videos to Theta?
Dailymotion, except we did.
Yeah. Why don't you upload your videos to Dailymotion? Why don't you upload them to, Rumble or Odyssey or any of the countless
There's
alternate
lots,
video platforms? And the answer is always, guys, the economics of it just don't make any sense, because it can only be one of two ways, right? You've either got the ability to get a lot of views with a very, very low per view monetization rate. That's YouTube. Or you've got the ability to get very few views with a very high monetization rate. So that's going to be something more along the lines of like a, what's that? Not masterclass, but the one where it's like it pays out based on how many views you get. I can't remember, but something like selling a course or something like that. That's just about the highest possible CPM you can get, because each individual who buys the course is going to pay $10 or $20 or $50 or $100 or whatever the case may be. So there's your spectrum. And the problem is that unless your name is Google and you happen to own YouTube, at least this is true in the Western world, the economics of anything that's not paying like this, getting less than hundreds of thousands or millions of views, just doesn't make any sense. Floatplane sits kind of somewhere in between, where people pay anywhere from the OGs, pay $3 a month, anywhere up to, I think our highest tier is $10 a month. And even then, we have to put a ton of work into making that platform appealing to people. We have to upload a bunch of extra content. So it ends up being kind of a mix. It ends up being our regular content at a much higher monetization rate, but then it ends up being this other much higher cost content at I shouldn't say higher cost, it's lower cost, but it's not going to other platforms that also contribute to it. So Floatplane has to bear that cost completely on its own. So we have this other sort of exclusive or behind the scenes or whatever else it is content that sits on there that is paid for by those subscribers. So that kind of sits somewhere in between. So there's kind of your spectrum. And the reality of it is that Twitter's monetization is just not even close. Even if you're a person sitting in front of your webcam, I am not sure if even at, let's forget about MrBeast, because there's only one person. If we do the math based on MrBeast, there's only one person to whom that's relevant.
Yeah.
And his name is Jimmy. Whereas if we talk about it maybe more along the lines of, let's say someone who would have 250,000 to 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Okay, so you're someone who's getting, realistically, it's probably somewhere between 10, 15,000 views a video to, maybe 250,000 views a video, somewhere in that range. Even if you could port your entire YouTube audience over to X, Twitter, you'd be looking at maybe tens of dollars for that video, which, if it's just you and a webcam, may actually be viable. But if it's anything beyond that, you're probably paying yourself less than minimum wage. And you might say, okay, well, are you really though? Because it's just purely incremental, right? Like, why not just have the little X cherry on top of all your views on YouTube or whatever else? But you got to understand, from a creator's point of view, at least if you're a business-minded one, there's an opportunity cost for everyone who watches on this platform where the monetization is very low.
Anywhere you're uploading, you're theoretically trying to drive more people there. So, like, if it's worse, why are you driving people there? Especially when most of the people looking for videos are probably going to be on YouTube anyways. When you're looking for publicly, freely accessible videos.
So people often ask themselves, or ask out loud even, why is it that YouTube has this seeming monopoly on VOD content? And there's a lot of answers for how it came to be the way that it is right now. But as for why it is the way it is right now, why do Twitch streamers want to get a foothold on YouTube? Why do TikTokers want to make a transition over to YouTube? The answer is simple, and it's that people like to be paid for their work, and YouTube offers by far the best compensation for their work. And it's not just like, oh, it's all about the money. It's like, think about it this way. If in the morning you got dressed, brushed your teeth, ate some oatmeal, and you had the option to go to one of 6 different places, and one of them paid the most, and you did the exact same job, and your job wasn't, to manufacture, the train that runs over people, or, the lever that doesn't seem to work to prevent the train from running over people, or, whatever the case may be. As long as what you're doing is not, obviously morally abhorrent.
Yeah.
Well, which one do you drive to? I think it's a pretty obvious answer. You go to the one that compensates you best. And YouTube has this, for better or for worse, very powerful machine that ensures that if you are able to get views on the platform, you are able to be paid. Luke's calling someone.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Well, this is very interesting. I know. I would love to know who we're going to be talking to live on the show today. Are we planning to tell them they're live on the show?
We're not talking to anybody live on the show.
We are not talking to anybody.
We're not talking to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. This is very mysterious. Anyway, we actually do have monetization enabled on X Twitter, and I thought I would just share with you guys. We don't upload a ton of video, but we have uploaded some videos that have gotten, thousands of views or whatever. Typically, I'm trying to think. I actually don't know what 1,000 views is worth on YouTube. It varies a lot. But the point is, we have a pretty active Twitter account, fair amount of engagement, and this should give you some idea of why people don't really, why someone like Jimmy might not bother. So here's all of our payouts for the last, I guess, 3 months or whatever. Anywhere from 60, this could be 65 anything. Oh, 65.99. Okay, I don't know. There could have been another digit in there or something like that. Let's say, for the sake of argument, how many typical views does Jimmy get on a video? 50 million to 100 million? Is that a pretty fair range? Why don't we say 100 million?
Sounds fair. I don't really look at them, but that sounds about right.
So let's say Jimmy is 100 times our size. Let's say we get 1 million. Let's take kind of a mid to upper range for him. Let's take a lower range for us. We typically get 1 million to 2 million. So let's say we get 1 million views of video, and let's say he gets 100 million views of video. He's 100 times our size. He would make, let's say, for the sake of argument.
Did you say 50 to 100?
Yeah.
None of his get 50.
Oh, okay. So he's way above that now.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't looked in a while.
Yeah. Usually it's like 80 to 200 is where I'm seeing most of them.
Okay, so let's say 150. So let's say he's 150 times our size. So he would get around 10 grand from Twitter, assuming he had a similar strategy to us, trying to kind of post every day and meme or, whatever else. That is, that is not even a rounding error for him. Like it doesn't register. He could literally make an offhand comment about, man, I'm trying to think of something totally trivial. Like he could do a special edition popsicle stick with like MrBeast on it. And it's nothing else. It's a popsicle stick.
It sounds like it sounds like a Supreme drop.
Yeah. And then he could make a tweet about the popsicle stick and it would eclipse his Twitter revenue that he actually makes organically from the platform. Like it's just not a factor for someone like that. So that's why I just don't think that as much as people want to see it, you're going to see this mass exodus from YouTube anytime soon or ever. Such a big word, but I just don't see anyone else even really trying. Like ByteDance, TikTok maybe had an opportunity, but they haven't managed to figure out either the monetization of the platform itself, or they haven't figured out how to share in a way that is enticing to creators. Like you still have people trying to migrate their audiences.